I finally figured it all out. Recently I have noticed that I am not ambitious as I once was. I then realized the reason why. I made it. My entire life I wanted a loving family with a home. I have my lovely wife and daughter. We bought a home 3 years ago. I have everything I always wanted. Could I buy a bigger house or fancy cars? I could, but that would just be me trying to impress strangers. My wife and I both work and together make about $100,000 a year. I have managed to save around $30,000 that I had to on a monthly basis. I finally figured it out that once we achieve our basic dreams, there is this voice in our head telling us we need just a little more. Do we? I could drive a Mercedes. I could afford one and my credit is 760. But my cheap little subcompact car is paid for and runs great. I could live in a 5,000 square feet house. But my 2,000 square feet house is plenty big for just the 3 of us and the dog. I just turned 50 and I finally understand that I made it. Am I rich? Well, according to the media I am poor. But we are all fed and the bills are paid. Do I need gold, diamonds, more TVs, leather, marble, fame, name brands? What am I chasing? I finally made it. I live at the peak of late-stage capitalism and I won. I don't have a Lambo. I am not a crypto bro. I am not an Elon Musketeer. I have been alive for 50 years through both Republican and Democratic presidencies, and the reason I am where I am is because of me. I am the richest man in the world because when I look around trying to figure out what I need next, I can't think of anything. I won. From here on out all the rest is just showing off. If only all the rich of the world were as content as you. The capitalistic world wouldn't be the hellscape it is. Good on you. Influence others of your state with your values. Congratulations. I'm genuinely happy for you that you managed to shake off the compulsion for more. Start different saving funds. Save for your kids' college. Save for vacations. Save for your retirement. Put money away and become even more secure and enjoy TF out of your life. Way to go. I was ambitious in my youth. I worked for a couple of shysters and effectively grew up, in the working sense, in a toxic environment. I realized after redundancy, I was in my early 50s, that I could afford to live on a lot less money than I thought. Anyway, I went through courses and pivoted into another career that I found interesting and gave me enough money to save, go on holiday and enjoy life in general. Will I ever be a millionaire? No, but I don't care. My wife and I are comfortable in a house that in reality is too big for us. Run new-ish cars. Go on holidays a couple of times a year and still manage to save for our retirement. The stress levels are lower. I work less hours, get a good amount of holiday days, and I am in a good place just like the op. Well done to the op in finding the right life balance. Good for you, man. I wish I felt that level of security and satisfaction in my life. The tragedy here is that it only takes one accident or medical emergency to cut that security to nothing. And then late-stage capitalism has you back in a headlock with your balls in a mousetrap. I sincerely hope that nothing bad ever happens to you and your family. You have a thing that they will not get, and that is enough nerd face okay sign. Don't worry about the house size. I used to work for a surveyor, and once we were surveying a plot next to some multi-millionaire's big mansion. The guy came out, was actually really nice, and we talked a bit. He said that the only regret about his house was that he didn't make it at least half smaller. Good on you on realizing when you have enough. The world would be a much better place if more people did. Like billionaires never having enough. The whole purpose of the US system is to trap you in debt, then let you think you're free so you'll Come up with creative solutions to work harder and get out of debt, which you never do. It's why student loans are a thing. It's why mortgages are a thing. Traditional slaves never act creatively for master, but they enslave us while painting a pretty picture of how you're free. You should stay at least a little ambitious, because those with power will do things to take those things away from you. Just ask anyone who has been laid off or downsized. Thank you for taking the time to write up this post. I needed this in my life. I read an article a few years ago which states that $75,000 per year was the amount at which having more money fails to make people happier. It's probably closer to $100,000 now. But yeah, your experience checks out with that study. Keep saving your money. Then when the system collapses, you will be free to go elsewhere and your family will be safe. My ex, when she finally admitted to me her feelings, after complaining that I did not communicate well with her, told me she fell out of love with me because I no longer pushed for bigger and better. Well, what can I say that the op wrote so nicely? We both had decent jobs. We were in our 30s and already saving for retirement. We had a nice home in a nice neighborhood. I thought it was time to take a break and enjoy life. Still bust my tail at work, not take time off of that as it paid for the life we had. But not necessarily try for that next promotion yet. Not worry about whether the next car would be a Mercedes rather than Nissan or GM. I hope she got what she wanted. Once she broke away, I stopped worrying about her. I'm 60. Prepared for retirement or even unemployment. Won't happen as long as the boss stays alive. And like my life and living it. I believe it is now your civic duty to use your spare time and resources to fight the capitalist regime and try to mitigate socio-economic ecological collapse. But that's just me. Happiness is a choice. Initially I was grumbling to myself as I read this. Bro, stop rubbing it in. But then I realized how awesome what you are saying is. Way to go. Shout it from the rooftop. That is actually pretty awesome, and I am very glad you have figured it out. I agree. In my late 50s I just had to leave a high-stress corporate job due to sudden onset of a serious health condition which is now being managed. Luckily I am not in the US. The job required international travel, which I currently am not fit enough to do, and ironically it was probably the stressful job which caused the illness. As a result, I have taken a part-time job with far less pay in a totally different industry, but am now looking to get qualified and move into this new area. It means less holidays and fancy stuff, but can live on it. I was unhappy anyway in the stressful roles, as the saying goes, when one door opens. This is basically where I'm at. I am 34. I'm happily married and have a daughter. I own a house with a low interest rate. I have a degree and no student loans, and I will pay off my car in January. I make $90K base salary and get an additional $13K in profit-sharing bonuses. My job is boring as hell and I hate the thought of having to do it for another 35 plus years, but I've worked it to where it's as stress-free as possible. There are of course things I don't have that I wish I did. But I am extremely fortunate to be where I'm at. I'm very lucky and I completely empathize with everyone who is struggling. I've been there. I live at the peak of late-stage capitalism and I won. No, you didn't. You still have to work. I'm in the same boat as you. Look out for inflation or a medical crisis. They will get it in the end. Know you're breaking the credit card system by living within your means and keeping a nest egg. Think of the lending system, you selfish bastard.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.